Hi, I'm back again. Um, this is a bit of a um, expansion on the journey of um, my power animal with the spider. So after we did that initial journey, the night that I did that, I had a dream, and in Australia we have a white-tailed spider, which everybody kills. Like as soon as they see a white, I mean, spiders are often killed anyway, which is awful, but the white tails particularly get a lot of death because one, they love living in our clothes, and if they're on the floor, if your clothes are on the floor, they'll jump in and kind of nestle in your clothing. They like to be in the folds of material, and they can grow quite big, and they're quite ominous looking. They're quite elongated, and they have a very dark black armory type body. So anyway, in my dream, I was there was this huge white-tailed spider, and it was like, you know, it was massive, like as big as a car. And I was fighting this whitetail, and I had all this rage and anger, and I ended up just like giving into this anger and rage, and I started like killing this spider, like cutting. I don't know, some kind of machete or something. I was like cutting this spider, like just savaging it. It really disturbed me because generally all my life, spiders have been a really beautiful, amazing in arachnid that fascinated me, and I've always cared for them. I had them in my house, and um, honored what they did and how they lived. But the whitetail was also, they're well known for, if they bite, um, and they inject their venom, that people can get infections from the venom and have these big abscesses, um, which it turns out it's not actually from the whitetail, it's from something else around, that creates the infection, not the actual venom. Um, and I suppose depending on your skin type and what's in, like, of course, if you are bitten by a spider, you need to seek medical advice. I'm not, I'm not saying don't do anything, but yeah. So anyway, for me, this was very disturbing, and so I end up going on another drum journey, and because I wanted to talk to the mother spider about this, and it was really quite interesting. I went back down to the lower world through that cave on the beach, through that same access point, and I ended up landing softly on her web. So it was like landing on a trampoline. Um, and she felt the vibrations. She knew I was there, so she came over, welcomed me back, and showed me how easy it was for spiders to get around on their webs because of their 8 legs, whereas for me it was all a little bit like, trying to walk on a massive mesh trampoline. Um, so I did tell her about this dream of killing this whitetail. And so in the dream, the corpse of the whitetail spider appeared to me. And with the medicine of spider, it often is like death and rebirth. So the web symbolizing the death, and then the building of the new web is the rebirth. But this time, I was able to put my hands onto this corpse of this white-tailed spider, and you know, all of the bits that had been hacked apart came back together. She was brought back together. Her fangs kind of re put on, everything. She came back to life basically. So it was like a rebirth for this spider. Um, and she was also a mother. So she was able to speak to me directly, which I thought was, quite amazing. And she was telling me that the whitetails are really misunderstood and labeled for what she was not. And so she was saying that she had been cursed to be slaughtered. I was able to tell her I was sorry. And she reminded me at the time of many mothers that are also misrepresented and labeled. So women who have woven the web for centuries and then labeled and punished with death. And then because we've carried that label as women over, centuries, that we have then lashed out and attacked back. And so, but then the label, sticks even more, and it seems to be true. So I thought it was really interesting because it really does pertain to how women have not been allowed to have anger. Like we've been told that we need to be demure and not be angry and be submissive, and humans aren't like that, like let alone women. So the more you suppress someone, the more rage is in there that needs to be expressed. And when it's like in that denied state, it's volatile and dangerous. And so doing that journey with back into that spider medicine really allowed me to understand and look at these whitetail spiders in a different way. And I used to kill them as well, like, because I was always leaving my clothes on the floor and they'd always come in my clothes, and like I'd put my sock on and there'd be this spider in there to be like, wiggling away. So yeah, so also in that journey, I was able to see out of the mother spider's eyes. And they have like 8 eyes. And it was like looking at life from a whole new dimension. So seeing life in a different way to our limited way of human. When we're in our soul self, we have a totally expansive view of life. We think totally different. We don't have that limitation of human body, of those, emotions that affect us so easily, and the thought, the brain process of the human body that keeps us in these survival, like it protects us so of survive, like keeps us in this survival mode. Yeah, so I was able to see out of her eyes, and she's the weaver of the universe. So the Native American culture have the idea of the grandmother spider who weaves the universe, and I really resonate with that. I also was able to ask her another question about the warmth. So that same thing of me feeling the cold all the time. And she ended up wrapping me up again in her silk, lots of layers to keep me warm. And it was just about, getting more clothes in winter. And it was like, oh yeah, so simple. But you don't feel like that. I mean, there has been this has been a big thing for me, the cold, and it has in the last year, I've done some massive clearings with a different technique, not the shamanic journey so much, but with the energy clearing technique that involves tapping on different meridian points, tapping on different places on your body, and going through different statements. It's similar to EFT, but just has a much bigger dimensional place of coming from. And so I was able to go into a past life memory that took me right back to where this cold comes from. I did think it was from something in my as a toddler, where we lived in England. But it turns out it was that was also a remnant of a past life trauma that I was holding on to, and it was all about the cold weather. So coming back to the spider, it was about I also was able to ask her about, the prey, like, because I was looking up at her fangs because they were huge. Like, these fangs were enormous and venomous. But that's so that, so she may eat to immobilize her prey, inject the venom, and then she, that's her way of survival. So yeah. And then she also talked about the web of wisdom versus the web of practicality. So she was telling me that there was the spiritual world and the material and earthly existence. So we're constantly living in these two worlds. So having that spiritual side and also having, living in the material world that is what we know now, but being able to blend those two. And it's like what I've talked about before, bringing that soul self into this earth plane and living from that higher way of looking at things, a higher way of seeing things. So yeah, I just thought I'd like to expand on that, because I did, the dreams are also like big lessons, and especially if you have one that you remember really quite vividly. Um, like some you'll get have these great experiences, and then as soon as you wake up, you can train yourself to remember them and keep a dream journal. But there's some that you have, and they're so vivid that you just never forget these dreams. And this was this spider one, which I thought it was just bizarre after having, finding spider as my power animal and then going straight into this dream of like killing this giant white-tailed spider, and then being able to go back into the medicine journey, the shamanic journey within, and asking the questions. And that's the joy of it, is going in, you're asking inwardly, you're going into yourself and you're getting the knowledge from yourself. And that's why this is such a powerful way of healing. You're not going to other people. It's great, to start off, to go to other people, to find someone who gives you some you can learn tools of how to access that knowledge within. I'm also going to show down the track a method of accessing, talking to your spirit guides, the spirit help that we have. I see the shamanic, it's hard to explain whether it's,